G'day, Yasmin. We made it. You can't. Oh, you can hear me? I can't
Oh,
hear
can you hear me
you.
now?
There we go.
You can hear me now? Cool.
Perfect. We're in.
Wonderful. All set.
All right.
Also, if I'm doing screen share, do I just go to the side here, sharing options?
Yeah. So yeah, there's sharing options, and you can screen share up there with your PowerPoint. Do you want to test it now?
Yeah.
All right. Give that a little go.
The screen. Oh, not that one.
Polyvagal lens.
That
Data
one.
story.
You can see that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll maybe do it in slideshow from beginning. Is that fine?
Yeah, that works well.
Okay, cool. So I would just do that when we start.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything else I need to know? Is my camera okay?
Yeah, that looks good.
I couldn't do my Logitech. I can do that in Zoom, but I couldn't connect it for some reason. So yeah,
Right. Okay. Yeah, this has been
but that's okay.
quite a day today trying to work out all this tech. Get a million emails from people and all that. So it's been fun.
Oh gosh, I thought of you because I thought, gosh, I'm sure you've got all these because it's a new platform. There's so much going on. So what I thought is I better just get myself familiar because nothing worse than receiving last minute issues, right?
Yeah, yeah. So we've had a few of
Yeah.
today, so it's been like 5 months.
Yeah.
Things
So
now someone
so my internet usually works well on Zoom. I'm not sure about this platform because I'm in South Africa. Wi-Fi should be okay, but it seems to be slightly lagging.
yeah, so what actually happens with this platform, which is kind of nice, is that we it it updates its bandwidth to the speed of whatever internet you're at, so that there's never any freezing of your internet.
Oh,
So so it means that you'll go lower quality, but won't be any freezing. You might end up as like 5 pixels or something, but it won't freeze. And it does same for participants. So it's kind of nice that it adapts that way. So that because Zoom just had 3 options, and if it was too slow, you just keep freezing. Um, so it
yeah,
may be a
cool.
slight slow time right now, which is why it might appear that way to you, but then it might speed up again. It adapts as it changes.
Great. Okay, cool.
So yeah, it's all right. Is there anything else you'd like me to sort of set up for you?
No, I think I'm all good. I'll do the screen share. I know that I've got 45 minutes and yeah, I just move things around just to make sure that I stay within the 45 minutes. So my slides might be slightly different, but that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that people took away something from the session so that it's not just information.
Yeah, yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you know what we are like as therapists, we could talk forever. And so, keeping it within the 45 minutes is good.
yeah. And I'll give you a little intro, or perhaps Yolanda will. Either one of us will give you a little intro before we start. And, feel good.
Cool. Yeah. Hi, Yolanda.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. I thought you were my first participant. I was like, oh my gosh, someone's here already.
I'm meant to be helping with tech support, but I'm kind of figuring it out as I go along.
All good. You guys are doing a great job. I can't imagine. I mean, from the last embodiment conference, the very first one I attended to where it is now is just incredible.
almost like starting again as well, because like Zoom was worked out for that one. It's like, oh, this is all working, and then had to change because of a multitude of reasons to BlueJeans, and I was like, oh, they're all over again.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But you know what? We get to know all these new things, and it'll be worthwhile because this is such a long-term thing, isn't it? And you have to just keep adapting to however it's emerging. So
Yeah,
yeah, I know I mean, I did change course platforms and it's a nightmare. Especially if you're on your own as a solopreneur, it's just like, why did I do this? You know, this is just adding more, but you change because you know the other platform's giving you more in the long run.
yeah. Which is what happened here.
And I hope you're all taking care of yourselves during this process.
Self-care, we're not actually meant to do it ourselves, are we? We're just meant to teach it to others, I thought.
That's why I'm running this session because, yeah, you know, it's like we're fine, but actually, you're giving so much that you don't realize, but it's all good. So I've got 5 minutes, right? So do people just come on automatically?
Yeah, people are starting to come in. So the last session just finished, and they're in each in a different channel. So it's like people take a little bit of time to hop over. Because it's quite complicated for people, I'm also live streaming it on Facebook, which means that there's probably a lot more people watching over there who are struggling with the tech, and then there'll be some people here in the room with that sort of thing.
Okay, cool. Let's put my volume up a little.
I'll intro you in like 4 minutes.
Sure. Okay, cool. Make sure my volume's okay. I just want to make sure I'm going to make sure I think all my apps are closed. I think they are. Don't want to get any notifications because sometimes with Chrome that happens, doesn't it? Emails, yeah. But everything's closed. I'm going to make doubly sure in quick. Yeah, everything's done. Okay, cool.
I was just going to say, a message saying that someone's recommending I take down my towel, which is hanging in the background. Somewhere there.
Oh, I didn't even notice. You know what? Yeah. Since we've been in lockdown and everyone's on Zoom and seeing everyone's private space, I mean, you have no idea what else is going on around me. It's just, I've got dishes I haven't washed and, I keep this space really clear.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Everywhere outside of the screen, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's all good. All good. I'm gonna
remove it.
Sure.
There we go. Towel can go on my bed instead. Hope it's not wet.
Hey, I like your new. Have you got new tops for Embodiment Conference? Is that what you're wearing? Oh, how nice! Yeah.
A bit cold in London this morning, so I put something on underneath it. Actually, but,
oh wow! Well, I was chatting to my daughter. She's just moved to Folkestone. Oh, mugs too. Yeah, so she's in Folkestone. Just moved to the sea, and it looks gorgeous, bright. I mean, I'm in Hermanus, and it's beautiful. I'm facing the mountain, which is nice. So yeah.
Were you down there during the pain session, like when we did the pain conference, or you?
Yeah.
Okay, for some reason.
Yeah, do you know what? Yeah, because I was in the UK, but before lockdown, I came to South Africa to run a retreat, and then lockdown happened, so I just stayed on. Can't complain. I mean, I have the sea and I have the mountains. So I thought, well, just stay. And we can't travel. Internal flights have just opened, but I mean, you can travel, but it's so expensive to get back to the UK. And I have a residency in South Africa and the UK, so I'll just wait.
Yeah. And
You know,
even though it's winter down there, it's probably just as warm as summer here in the UK. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, today's a beautiful day. The sun's out, and sometimes it warms up by lunchtime. We have had some incredibly cold days. About 2 weeks ago, there was snow on the mountains, and people get so excited they will travel just to go up onto the mountains and touch the snow. So, yeah, we had that, but it melts in a couple of days. It doesn't last.
yeah,
But we're not equipped for central heating in South Africa, so it feels a lot colder when that happens.
yeah. It used to be the same in Oz. I'd be down like it's colder, it's warmer in the UK in winter inside than it is in Australia. Um, yeah, let's get this started in about 30 seconds. Just in case it wasn't clear enough as well, it's in webinar view. So I've invited a few people we kind of know, just kind of so you can see some faces. And if anyone else here would like to not interrupt at all, but just be a face that Yasmin can see so that she's not just talking to herself, you can raise your hand up and just choose a couple more. All right, I'm ready to get going. Do this. It's a pleasure to be introducing Yasmin. She joined us on the Embodiment and Pain Day. Would have that been a few months ago now? I think it's almost like the anniversary, like the 3-month anniversary of it. But Yasmin is a somatic educator and a creator of the Soma Sensing movement therapy for chronic pain and trauma recovery. She's a registered somatic movement therapist and integrates science with the felt sense, which is very interesting to me. So she's going to be doing a session today on I guess being a somatic therapist. I'm fine, I'm a somatic therapist, because there's a tendency to forget one's own self-care when one's caring for others. So you've got the bio there on the website and the session description, but it's kind of looking at Yasmin helps people with chronic pain and complex trauma, and how she found herself struggling doing that, so how she came out of that. And why breathwork and meditation sometimes aren't great for coming out of that. So very welcome, and it's great to have you, Yasmin.
Thank you. Thanks, Steve. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me in the session. I'm really hoping that you take away some practical tools in this time that we have together. So I will do my best to leave you with some guidelines, especially if you are struggling with being in shutdown or freeze. And we will go through some really great, simple guidelines. So I'm going to dive into some of the things that we will be exploring and experiencing. So Soma sensing, as Steve is saying, is well, I know Steve says it's a movement therapy. That's one of the things. If the way that I would describe Soma sensing is guiding you to connection. So it's based on how to connect with felt sense to self-regulate the nervous system. So I am intrigued with the science of the polyvagal theory, and the first time I came across it was in 2009. And at that time, like most people, we looked at the nervous system in terms of sympathetic and parasympathetic. And we've had so much more since then. And in going through my own journey of nervous system dysregulation, it was really helpful to understand the polyvagal theory as a state over the story that we tell ourselves, right? And what was also very useful is how to integrate it with somatic practice for felt sense, how to recognize when the vagus nerve is in dysregulation, and how to build up an inner resource of the body that can expand that capacity, or what Dan Siegel calls the window of tolerance. So I call it, how do we expand this capacity of being able to bounce back when life throws us off center. And what I find most intriguing is the way that we can repattern implicit pathways, unconscious pathways through the body. So this is how I integrate the somosensing practice. So it's polyvagal theory, fascia as a felt sense, and you'll see why in a moment, and neuroplasticity. So those are the three. Now, when I began this journey with somosensing, it was never straightforward. It wasn't, I didn't go out seeking somatic practice. Felt sense emerged from my body during a session with one of my mentors over 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And I was very much in faux tolerance. And the type of state, or the state that I was in, was in hyperarousal. Exercising 7 days a week. I was a fitness teacher as well, a single mom. And the story I gave myself was that I needed to have some sense of worth. I was, I was in a situation where, a cultural situation where women don't have a voice. And so I found myself fighting my way through life and trying to prove that, I am worthy. And achievement and determination and motivation, this drive that I experienced within myself, felt good. And the reason I'm mentioning that it felt good, because it gives us a sense of gratification when we overcome a challenge. And the reason I'm highlighting that is because it can take us into faux tolerance. So that's where I began. A couple of years ago, I found myself in a completely different state. I was in shutdown, and it felt so unfamiliar. The chronic fatigue, the heart palpitations at night. I would fall asleep. I'd never had sleep problems before. So falling asleep and being awoken by strong heart palpitations, and not noticing whether, I was told that it was anxiety related, and I thought anxiety related, but that's not me. And the title that I've chosen, I'm Fine, I'm a Somatic Therapist, is that I was using somatic practices to numb my nervous system. So every time there was some kind of challenge in my life, I would just go to the body and move and, find ways to calm. And it was an escape, if I'm really honest. And when this happened, it was a blessing, to be honest. It was a way of recognizing that I'm not facing what's really going on with my life. And I began to explore ways of regulating the vagus nerve, and mostly for finding this sense of resourcefulness. So I want to begin with the practice today, this morning. So could you take a moment, wherever you are, and arrive in sitting if you are in any other position. If you could just arrive in a seated position. And in sitting, if you can allow yourself to find a way of sitting that feels most comfortable for you. I would urge you to sit towards the edge of your seat. So I'm going to give you a moment. So as you arrive, just sitting kind of towards the edge of your seat, wherever you are. And noticing any sensations that are emerging from your body. Are there sensations that are keeping you alert? Or are they different sensations? So noticing that for a moment. And could you take a moment to pause and tune into your body? And as you tune into your body, Notice if you are on alert or if you can allow yourself to rest. And as you tune into this container of your body, feel free to self-adjust to find what feels most comfortable for you. If there are any areas of stiffness or strain in your body, how do you pay attention to the stiff areas and allow this inner body to soften? How do you arrive at self-adjusting your body? And in this moment of self-adjustment, come to a place of rest. Can you notice if there is a spontaneous sigh that emerges? Could you place your hand, your heart, just on your breastbone? And as you rest your hand on your heart, notice if it's a light touch or if you can really allow the heaviness of your hand to bring in a little bit more softness in your body. Finding a way to be in sitting that feels soft. And you may find that your body begins to move a little in that adjustment. And as you allow yourself to find the softness within, finding your place of rest. Notice if a spontaneous sigh has emerged. And if not, could you take your awareness to the area below your collarbone and begin to tap on either side of your breastbone, just a little tap underneath your collarbone. And as you're tapping, to notice if there is a sensation or a vibration within your body that allows it to release a little more. So just allowing yourself to sense and tap on either side of your breastbone. And then notice if there's a spontaneous sigh. And if not, it's okay. You can come back to rest. And could you allow yourself to come back to it? And the guideline or the tip I would share with you is to sense space within your body. So how could you find a sense of space? And can you rest there with a moment, for a moment? Bringing your hand back onto your heart. And could you pause there? Spending time with yourself. In connection, just tuning in. And then if you could let go of that, and as you come back into sitting, notice if there's any change within your sensation of your body. Just to take a note of that, and we'll come back to it. Okay, so what we've just gone through is something that I call the calm response, and it's 3 steps. You take a moment to pause. You could do this in standing or in sitting, and then you tune into your body, and here's where the significance is important. You're tuning in to the quality of your connective tissue. How stiff is your body? Are there any areas of strain? And the third part is to self-adjust. And as that happens, there may be a spontaneous sigh that emerges. And the purpose of the practice is to bring you into the present moment. And the second part of the practice is to help you find connection within your body. So connecting to this felt sense of a release sensation, what I call a felt sense of calm. And if you didn't experience it, it's okay. What may be a clue for you, if it did arrive or emerge, is a spontaneous sigh or a sensation around the heart, soft sensation. So we're going to come back to that in a moment. So the purpose of this connection practice is to allow your nervous system to listen to interoceptive signals, so sensations from your inner body, and also to influence those inner sensations of your body. So if you are in hyperarousal, or even if you are experiencing kind of low energy or a shutdown state, you can still come to a body practice that doesn't take 20 minutes. It doesn't even take 5 minutes, right? You could pause, tune in, and simply shape change your body to where it feels easier or at rest. And here I want to emphasize easier for your connective tissue, easier for your body to experience sensation. And with my clients, one of the things that we do emphasize, or I do emphasize, is the self-adjustment. So finding what feels most comfortable. So if you are experiencing any discomfort or even pain, changing the position of your body and listening to your inner body. And when you come to this sense of connection, what emerges is these emotional sensations of compassion or courage, clarity. And the reason that happens is down to interoceptive signals. So what is interoception? Interoception are the sensations that emerge from within the body, and the most obvious ones are the urge to pee, a feeling of hunger or thirst, heart palpitations. Those are physiological sensations. They are emotional interoceptive signals. Palpitations could be a signal that you are in anxiety. But in this case, I'm shifting our interoceptive sense to the connective tissue. So for those of you who are not aware of fascia, fascia is your connective tissue. It is the glue or the fabric that shapes our body, and every living cell lives within the fascial net. What's significant about fascia is that it allows us to experience felt sense, inner sensation, and that's because there are receptors or neurons or nerve endings within the fascial fabric that are interoceptive in nature. What that means is they are free nerve endings, and they allow us to sense what's happening for us within. Now, what's interesting with fascia is that we can sense stiffness or softness. And this is where my focus in soma sensing goes. And that's because when you have someone, or when we are feeling vulnerable or sensitive or what's the word? Fearful of going within the body, the place to go to is the quality, or sensing the quality of the connective tissue, because it's easier to find where it feels stiff and not link it to a story or a mood or an emotion. So even though interoceptive signals are linked to emotion, what I find really helpful is these self-adjustments in the body that can regulate the nervous system. So we know that any kind of dysregulation in the nervous system results in inflammation or discomfort within the body. The fascial tissue stiffens, or there is a chemical change that happens where the fascial tissue becomes inflamed. So the purpose of tuning into the body in the way that we just did is to go to felt sense and self-regulate by softening the stiffness in the connective tissue. Other experiences that may emerge is a sense of integrity, and we're going to explore that in a moment, and an inner knowing in a really simple way. So for me, intuition, as we're cultivating it, begins with self-adjustment. As you're listening to your interoceptive signals, where am I stiff? You can even explore that now whilst you're sitting. Oh, yeah, my body needs to just move a little because I've been sitting for a little while and listening. You can begin to adjust and go into, your lower back, wherever that is. That's inner knowing, right? You're sensing. So another way of describing felt sense is this inner knowing. Where do I need to soften, right? So it's giving you a flavor of what felt sense is. How is it significant for me? What happened for me when I went into freeze or shutdown is recognizing that I had ignored felt sense outside of my movement practice, even though I was teaching it. There was a moment in my life which was overwhelming a couple of years ago. I had a fall, which that wasn't the overwhelm. The fall was just an added thing. And when the body experiences sensation, and Stephen Porges calls that neuroception, how we start to unconsciously make sense of these sensations, it can take us into some level of overwhelm, or sensory amnesia or somatic amnesia can set in when we are disconnected or disassociated from our felt sense. So as the embodiment community, we know that, right? That when we are disassociating, we're disassociating from felt sense for a reason. So I recognize that my coping mechanism was, I don't want to hear what's going on. This is really overwhelming for me. So I'm just going to, I'm going to my body and do my movement and, not be too concerned about what's happening. My movement will take care of me, right? And that has shifted, that has changed. That's all I want to say about that. So I want to take you through 2 practices next, and we're going to come up into standing. So I'm going to call it practice 1 and practice 2. So if you can take a moment to come up to standing. And I'm going to give you a moment. Okay, these are really simple practices, and they are practices to help you to recognize the different sensations of felt sense from a somatic movement perspective. So in practice 1, could you come into standing? And standing in the way where you're bringing your awareness to the position of your feet. Where are your feet in standing? You don't have to move them. They can just be wherever they are. There's no particular way that they need to be, but just to notice in standing, how are you standing? How do you bring your awareness to the position, your feet, perhaps? Let's begin there, almost like a body scan. And could you notice how your feet make contact with the ground? What parts of your feet are experiencing sensation with the ground? Taking a moment to notice that. And could you take your awareness from your feet to your ankles, to the way that your knees and your pelvis are sitting over the rest of your body? In whatever position they are is fine, just noticing that. And as you continue with this kind of body scan of noticing parts of your body, let's go to your spine. And could you go to the base of your spine and trace the shape of your spine from the base through to your lower back, your mid-back, to the nape of your neck. And to perhaps adjust to experience the spaces in between the bones of your spine. And to rest there and notice how you scanned through your body in this practice. And then if you can let go of practice one, so it's just a short little practice, take your body out, maybe stroll around the room, whatever it is that you need to experience, especially if you feel that your body's stiffened a little bit, just move around. And then we come to practice two. So you might have been taking a stroll around the room, shifting your body around, and this time as you come into standing, could you arrive and taking a moment to pause and tune into the sensation of your inner body. And as you're tuning in, can you notice whether there are any areas of stiffness or discomfort within your body? And could you allow your body to self-adjust to find what feels most comfortable for you? So all you're listening out for is that. Your body as a container. And you could also imagine that your body's filled with a gel. How stiff is the gel? Could you find a way of standing that softens any areas of stiffness within your body? And perhaps you could also add a little bit of a bounce, a body bounce, to release any stiffness or tension. And then to come back to standing if you've added a body bounce. And I'm going to leave you for a moment to tune in, just to listen and explore. And you may find that there are movements that emerge for you that might take care of you. Your body might be sending you information of where those areas are that need taking care of. And you can begin to either sway or move around or stand quietly to notice. Okay, so those were the two practices of felt sense. And felt sense is pretty quick, right? If you're tuning in different ways. And I'm going to come back to that and ask you what you felt about the difference in those two ways of experiencing felt sense. And I'll share what the difference is. And you may come up with your own insights, which would be amazing if you did. Okay, so I want to clear something up, that this sense of connection, this tuning into your interoceptive awareness, is never always this relaxation state. Connection is all about listening to what's happening for you, and it could emerge that your felt sense is responding to something that doesn't feel right, a sense of injustice, and we call that righteous indignation. So I really want to add that in, that when you start to cultivate felt sense, you learn how to take care of your state, you may experience this sensation, and to recognize when connection is being guided by a mood that we call righteous indignation. And righteous indignation, for me, comes from ontological coaching. When I did a couple of ontological coaching workshops, there are 6 moods of life, and righteous indignation is the one that kind of sits in between, where there is a sense of injustice and your body may go into an alert mode. But how can that happen? From connection. I'm going to also give you a practice to take away, okay, to experience a sense of integrity as felt sense. So that second practice that we explored, I'm hoping would help you to arrive in a state of integrity. And from a soma sensing lens, this is how I would share this and go away and practice this. So you want to have a partner for this. If you're with someone right now, you could try this, but you need a partner for this. And in the first practice, you go into your body and stand upright, tall, and in control. So almost like you're like a core control standing position for those of you who do Pilates or you're strengthening your core or any of those practices. Standing upright, and I'm using the word upright for a reason, okay? And as if you're in control, this feeling of, I'm in control. And your partner will come along and give you a little push, and to notice what happens to your body when you're given a little push in standing upright. And then in the next practice, if you could go to a practice of inner ease, as you did in practice 2 of our session today, is to find a standing position and the softness within your body. And please don't mistake softness of your body with a softness emotional state that might be different. Okay, so this is really about your connective tissue. So standing with inner ease, softening any areas of stiffness, finding that inner softness, and then your partner comes along again and gives you a little push. Okay, so that's a practice for you to go away, take that away, and please send me messages of what you found. So this brings me to felt sense. When we tune in, we have an inner sense, as we did in the calm response today. And when you tune in, where is that area within your body that you can identify that helps you to connect? We place hand on heart. You can do that in this moment. And the reason that we find that sense of connection is because your vagus nerve, when it's in regulation, controls your heart rate variability. So you know that the vagus nerve, or if you don't know, I don't want to assume, your vagus nerve goes from your brain to the body directly. It's a wandering nerve, a long nerve. It innervates all the organs of the body. And the area I'm particularly interested in is the heart. The ventral part of your vagus nerve innervates the heart. Above the heart, to your facial muscles, your facial fascia, I should say, and to your sight, your hearing, your taste. I've put touch there, but your facial senses. Let's say your facial senses. And sensing from within, this embodied awareness, I refer to this as noticing what happens to this area within your body that we tuned into when you are observing something, looking at something, and you could do that right now. So if you are watching the screen, could you look away from the screen? And can you allow your eyes to wander around the room? At the same time, noticing what's happening for you within your body. how soft is your connective tissue? And where do you go to sense that? And also notice if there is a change in focus of your eyes. And can you rest perhaps on a color or something that grabs your attention in the room? And rest your gaze on whatever that may be. And notice if there is a different sensation for you in your body. And you could explore this way of being, taking a moment to notice that when you are gazing at something, how does the rest of your body respond? When you're smelling something, how does the rest of your body respond? A wonderful way to explore that with smell, and I did this yesterday with my session. Oh, I'm teaching live again, which is great, in person, I mean. I have mint in my garden, and what we did was go outdoors and then break a piece or leaf of mint and smell. And as you're taking in the sense of the smell, how does the rest of the body respond? So that's something for you to practice. And the reason we practice this is because you are experiencing the whole of your sensation, your interoception, your exteroception. Exteroception are the signals that are arriving from without. And in disembodiment, or let's say disembodied awareness, the sensory or somatic practice or a sensory sensation, sensory awareness is missing, right? Disconnection is the word I'm looking for. The disconnection is there. So we might be going out into nature, experiencing this incredible beauty of nature, and be in a disconnected body. And that's the reason I'm sharing this with you, because in regulating the nervous system, I'm hearing a lot of, oh, just go out into nature. Nature's amazing. I have met people who've been in nature who are in disconnection. That's all I want to say about that, because I do want to move on a little. I've put this picture here of lemons, and just looking at this image, what happens to your senses? Does your mouth start to water? Do you almost smell the lemon as you see it? So in a moment, what happens to your body? And in that moment, there is another experience that happens that we may not notice, and it's an experience of appreciation. So when we're in the moment of just looking at something as beautiful as a cut lemon, it could be an avocado or something out in nature, that moment where we pause in appreciation is a felt sense. So everything from connection that emerges when we're in connection happens from interoceptive awareness. It's saying to the body that, this is good for you. This is keeping you in this regulated state. So that sense of appreciation is an incredible way of bringing your body into regulation. And the reason being, from a polyvagal lens and others from neuroscience, is the hormone oxytocin, your nurture hormone. People call it the love hormone. I call it your nurturing hormone, your self-nurturing hormone. So a felt sense of connection, as we discovered in this short session today, I'm hoping that you found this in a calm, sighing, resting state. Resting, not relaxation. I want to make that distinction. Just pausing for a moment. And wherever you are, could you allow yourself to perhaps observe or be in appreciation of something that you see, hear, or smell? And notice how that emerges from your body when it is in a soft state. Something I want to leave you with today is soft body. How did I get out of shutdown? Right here, I want to take a moment. Actually, let me go to this slide first. We as a community, and I say we as movement therapists, yoga teachers, somatic therapists, we know about yoga, and we've been told how incredible it is, and it is, right? But we need to have a different lens in the way that we approach it, because when you are in shutdown, it's a zoning out sensation, and I remember feeling that zoning out. The thing I found myself, or the state I found myself in, was not wanting to be around people, which was the most unusual thing for me. I was cocooning myself, and thinking that, oh, I just enjoy my own company, right? That I just want to be in nature and that's it. And I found my eye gaze, my eyes would not focus, and it felt good not to focus. It's that feeling that we have in meditation of soft gaze. Not good for freeze. Not good even in Yoga Nidra. And I've had clients who've come to me saying that they experience heart palpitations in meditation. What is the remedy for that? Is to connect with your connective tissue. And you don't have to be in stillness. In fact, I never use that word. I never use two words, stillness and relaxation. And exercise numbs sensory awareness too. So you're either in one extreme or the other. And I was in exercise mode. That's the story I began with, and then ended up in this faux tolerance of shutdown. So the faux tolerance is those in-between states. And those are the states that we don't recognize. So learning how to connect with felt sense and learning how to recognize dorsal, which is the shutdown state. And dorsal is not always a bad thing. It gets a bad rap, but it's about regulation, guys. And the thing that I want to share in terms of regulation is to tune into your body's innate ability to regulate. So intuitive practice is what I teach. Innate can also be being out in nature in a soma-sensing way. So opening up your senses from within and learning how seeing, hearing, smell happens from within your body. So this is my routine if I'm in shutdown, and I know that feeling. I don't know, and I hope some of you in the chat will put down, finding it difficult to wake up in the mornings, or not sleeping at night and feeling sleepy in the day and having these wanting to shut away from the world. That is so not me. That was so not me. And I just thought, well, I'm just relaxing. I'm shutting myself away from the stress outside. And that was not what was happening. Anyway, so this is what I say to people I run a Chaos to Calm course, and I give them really simple practices. And it has to be simple, because when you're in shutdown, oh my God, any form of activity just feels so overwhelming, right? So I make sure I wake up before 8 a.m. and I start some soma-sensing movements. And if we have time, I'll take you through some of those. Then I have a shower, and I use a body brush or a loofah. It stimulates my skin, right? It wakes me up. I tell you what I've noticed. You know how lovely it is to have a hot shower, right? Be very careful that you're not just standing there thinking, oh, this is really nice. A hot shower can take you into shutdown, and you have to really listen to your felt sense. So I blast the cold water, and I have been doing this in the UK too, in winter, until I have brain freeze. Now, I'm not saying you need to do this. If that's not what you, obviously it's not for everyone. A splash of cold water, and I'm sure you've heard that before from how to regulate the vagus nerve. And I do things like make up my bed, take care of household chores. And it really makes a difference. Without over tiring myself or thinking, without going into sympathetic. So learning how to be awake in a mindful way. And a really great one for me is if I've been on the screen for a long period of time, I have to gaze away. I'm very lucky because where I live in Hermanus, a place called Hermanus in Cape Town, I have a view of the outdoors with the mountain in the distance and a beautiful garden where right now I can see the color yellow, bright yellow bush. I can see colors of purple and pink. And I allow my gaze to go there. I can feel how that sensation changes in my body. And then if I go back to just staring at my screen for a long period of time, it's a disconnection from the body. So we have around 5 minutes, I think, of some time. This is a good time if you want to just stand up. And I'm sharing with you what I do with movement. It's intuitive. I will body bounce. I swing my arms around. I do big movements. I don't think about them. The movements emerge from within. So everything in Soma Sensing is around tuning in and moving from within, allowing your intuitive, I know that word is so overused, I'm going to make it easier. Your body will guide you when you're listening to interoceptive awareness, your inner sensation. And you'll start moving and swinging your arms, pandiculating. And that's a really great way to awaken your body. And that's how I got out of freeze. So I've come to the end. I'm going to just stop sharing this if I can. There we go. Yeah, all good, guys? Any questions? Are you falling asleep on me? What's going on?
In case anyone doesn't know, there's also a question and answer section that you can put questions in, so that's sometimes easier to see than in the chat comments.
I see a few Q&As here. I have to answer this one. What's the difference between rest and relaxation? I always go to the body for this. So in seated, if you can bring your body to rest, let's just explore that. And now let's explore the words. Language, words matter, embodied cognition, all the words are felt within the body. And if you can go to your eyes and just relax your eyes, relax your body. I'm just going to say relax your body. And that's it. I'm just going to do that. Was there a difference between listening to the word rest and listening to the word relax? That's all I'm asking. So when I said rest versus just relax your body, was there a difference? If not, it's okay. For me, there is. It might be the way that I experience those words. But relaxation for me is almost like a deeper, almost collapsing sensation. Whereas resting, when I tune in, I'm resting within my body. So everything feels like it's filling out. Because our anatomy is based on the body at rest. Everything stays where it is, but it's not on alert. Okay, so Gabrielle was saying you couldn't see FB Live. Okay, any other questions? Best references for working with fascia. You can go to, there are a couple of books. One is by David Lesondak, or if you go to fascia research, I think it's fasciaresearch.org, fasciaresearch.org. Look up John Sharkey, David Lesondak, and Joanne Avison has a really great one on Gary Carter from Embodiment Conference, right? But Joanne Avison with fascia. Fasciaresearch.org has incredible fascia. Let me change that. Fascia Research Congress is another. I want to, I see here, how does felt sense relate to body awareness, body fullness? Okay. Yeah, felt sense, good question. Let me come back to the practice that we did before. I took you to two practices. One was body scan and the other was tuning in. One is proprioception and the other is interoception and proprioception. And in my experience of embodied awareness, you want interoception as well as proprioception. They are different. So I could teach you body scan, that's body awareness. Tuning in and self-adjusting is embodied awareness, right? I'm not telling you where to bring your awareness. You are listening to your inner sensation and the inner sensations emerging from within. Okay.
Now,
why waking up before 8 a.m.? Yeah.
We're going to have to wrap things up.
Cool. Okay. So you've got my URL, so we're fine with that. We've gone 5 minutes over, guys. I'm sorry, I have to end there. Thank you, everybody.
There's so many awesome questions there, so I'll try to record the chat and get that to you as well if you just want to have a look through. But also, looks like people absolutely bloody love this. All things like practical, amazing, great session. All absolutely excellent. So, as usual, as on the pain day, I think everyone's loving what you're doing. And what I can say is that I've just shared there as well in the chat Yasmin's course From Chaos to Calm. So that's on her Soma Sensing website. So do check that out if you love this session, like it seems like many people did. So thank you again, Yasmin, for taking the time to do this.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, guys. And, it was a bit strange not seeing you all, but love you and thank you for joining me. Take care, everybody. Thank you, Steve.
And just for everyone else who's here as well, this is, if you want to get the recordings for this event, we're going to be putting them in a package with pre-sales for the Embodiment Conference. So set aside some time for the big Embodiment Conference. Yasmin's going to be there with us, and there's over 1,000 speakers, something ridiculous, between 14th and 25th of October. So you can buy the recordings on the page that I've just posted a link to. And please do join our Facebook group as well, because we actually ask, the image for this day, the otter was chosen by you guys, and some people turned out didn't like it on Facebook ads, but all you guys voted for it on the Facebook group. We have embodiment circles, so that's like practice sessions every day, several times a day, with embodiment people leading them. So you can join those if you want 1 hour a day to practice some embodiment stuff online. And we do ask you, please do tell your friends about the conference, because just one friend. We ask one friend from everyone. If you really enjoyed this day and you know one other friend will enjoy it, please do invite them as well. So check, and with the recordings for this, it's the best price you'll get for the conference. So you actually get free access to a tutorial group, so you won't actually get that once they're sold for the conference. So if you haven't got that, get bonuses, self-care, and all 1,000 hours of all the speakers for the conference. You can head that across there and get the upgrade. Do that right now on our lovely embodiment portal, which we have to fix up slightly, I think, because it's a little bit confusing how to join these sessions. But yeah, we'll be working on that, and we appreciate your feedback. Thank you, everyone. Thank you again, Yasmin. And
thank you.
Adam Walker is next up. So if you want to do that, you can head to the schedule and click on the Intimacy and Relationships channel and head there. So cheers, guys, and I'll follow up Yasmin. Do check her out. And actually, I'll just respond to your question. That's one of the packages is $149. I believe it's in US dollars. Unfortunately, the world doesn't use the far superior currency of Australian dollars. So yeah, Adam's session.